I kind of took it upon myself to make everything better.
What about speaking to someone at school, a teacher, a principal, someone you could trust who might be able to help you?
I figured since it was anonymous and on Facebook, no one could really do anything, and I just eventually let them bully me all the time.
Why are you talking to us? Why are you being so honest with us about this?
I'm tired of pretending that everything's been all right, and I hope that someone else who's in my position will see this and maybe that they won't turn out to be like me.
Like you, meaning?
Affected by the bullying and starting to hate myself. What that you like? Yeah, I like that one because it's kind of purple. And
Tiana's safe place is with her little sister.
Love these two? Yeah.
Her parents want school to be a safe place too, so they're asking the principal for help.
But I kind of like the purple because it's shiny.
2 essays due in 1 week and then
6 years ago, David's parents took stronger steps, pulled David out of school, and launched a lawsuit against the school board and 3 bullies.
one of them settled with me a couple months into it, and he settled for an apology. He wrote me an apology letter, and that's all we were asking for. After 6 years of fighting with the school board, all we asked for them was an acknowledgement of the fact that this problem happened, and 6 years later, still nothing. The second bully, he never settled with us. He committed suicide. And the more I thought about that, the more I started to feel upset that I was let down because of all the abuse and all the torment that I suffered. But the bully who committed suicide was also let down because he didn't get the help he needed.
The people who were tormenting you, do they know you know who they are?
They might, I'm not sure, but a few of them have bullied me face to face as well, so I know that they know.
And what do you say to them?
I ignore them and just let them talk to me, and it's not really like they're hurting me or anything anymore.
David worries ignoring that pain will get harder and harder for teens to do.
As the internet's become more and more complicated and more advanced, so too is the bullying. And there is that fear, there was always that fear of, okay, well, even though this website's taken down, the content, the comments, the photographs, the pain from it is still out there.
Next,
I'm coming through here.
a popular online meeting place
It's not an option to say, just turn it off.
and the sometimes tragic consequences of electronic encounters.
There's nothing I can do to take back what I live with every day of my life.
When CTV's W5 continues.
OPP officer Robin McEachern is out on the beat, not solving crime, but preventing it, an elusive crime called cyberbullying.
The bullying through electronics happens anytime, anywhere, using any device. And we're just starting to understand how much of it there is because it's in a world where we don't always see it. How many of you guys have set your privacies on your Facebook?
Sergeant McEachern goes from school to school, talking to kids and teens about just how serious cyberbullying can get.
If I say to your face, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to find you today after school and I'm going to use such and such a method and I'm going to kill you. Or if I type it on an email. It's the same threat and it's a criminal offense to say that.
But the best place to reach teens is to go where they go. Here, to a virtual world, a world few adults know or understand.
We need to recognize that sitting in front of that computer screen is a risky situation. And the level of anonymity, the feeling of security sitting behind your own computer screen can really bring out a heightened level of violence, of sexuality and vulgarity behind that computer screen.
So Sergeant McEachern replaces her police uniform with a virtual image and goes online to answer questions about cyberbullying.
I'm coming through here. I have to maneuver through them to get close enough to open the bus door.
It's the OPP Info Bus, a virtual image in a virtual world. The doors of the bus open, and Sergeant McEachern is bombarded.
So they just said that all of them have at some point in time seen someone being bullied online.
Kids starve for guidance, clamor to tell their stories, confessions from a potentially dangerous and nearly adult-free online world.
Oh, she sent her a link to a website, and she clicked it, and she was on it. And it said underneath, we can't give our kids a world where there's no adult supervision and there's no help for them. It's not an option to say, just turn it off. First of all, that cuts the young person off from their social network. And those social communities are so important to how a young person functions that shutting them off from their social network is like saying, well, you've done something wrong and I'm going to make you a victim again.
So instead of telling teens to turn the internet off, adults need to turn it on and figure out what's happening to kids online.
Well, we need to have parents engaged. That just because your child looks physically safe sitting in front of a computer monitor in your home, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are.
The numbers are shocking. In Canada, 1 in 5 boys and 1 in 3 girls reports being involved in some form of cyberbullying. And that means sending threats, taunts, name-calling over the internet, by email, even using a cell phone. The figures rank this country as one of the worst in the world, with rates even higher than in the United States. And make no mistake, electronic bullying is not harmless child's play.
Cindy Wesley knows all too well just how devastating bullying on a cell phone can be. Her 14-year-old daughter was a victim.
Dawn Marie was your typical 14-year-old. She had goals. She had dreams. She didn't need to be the most popular kid in school, but she needed to know that her friends were her friends.
Kyla Dunn considered herself one of those friends and more, the one protecting Dawn from kids tormenting her.
Every day she smiled. Every day she was happy. I felt like I needed to protect that because she was a great person and all these people were making her cry all the time.
But one fateful day, that friendship took a terrible turn. November 10, 2000, Mission, BC. 3 girls, including Kyla, met in the woods. One of the girls, called DW, is spreading rumors about Kyla, and Kyla wants to settle the score. But DW blames the rumors on Dawn Marie and calls her on the cell phone.
And then she said, here, somebody wants to talk to you. And she handed the phone to me. As soon as I got the phone, she was in sobs. And I said, Dawn, I said, honey, stop crying. I said, stop crying. Please just stop crying.
But frightened and alone, Dawn Marie was sure the girls were after her, certain her friend Kyla had turned on her and was going to kill her.
She sounded scared. She sounded so scared. I remember her just like crying and just saying, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. And she just kept crying. And I kept saying, you don't have to be sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Kyla tried to tell Dawn Marie she wasn't blaming her, but Kyla will never know if she might have convinced her friend, because that's when DW grabbed the phone back.
She grabbed her cell phone and with an angry look on her face said, if I get beat up for this, she's like, you're f***ing dead.
The last words Dawn Marie heard. Then, terrified and in despair, seeing no way out, Dawn Marie committed suicide, hanged herself with her dog's leash, and left behind this suicide note.
Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry. I love you all so much, but I can't live anymore. DW has too many people coming after me that are going to kill me anyway. I never knew it would get this far, but I'm so depressed it's killing me, Mom. If I tried to get help, it would have gotten worse. They are always looking for a new person to beat up, and these are the toughest girls. If I ratted, I would get them kicked out of school, and then there's nothing stopping them. So that's all. I love you all so much. Love always, Dawn Marie.
Police charged 3 girls, including Kyla Dunn, with harassing and uttering threats. It was the first time in Canada charges were laid in a bullying case.
Talking to her on the phone was my biggest mistake. I couldn't take it back. And she felt like all these people were going to hurt her. And when this happened, I felt like I had been in her home and taken her life myself.
2 girls were convicted, 1 was acquitted. That girl was Kyla Dunn. But that brought Kyla little comfort.
I didn't even look at my own reflection in the mirror because I hated myself so much. You eat it too much. Won't you play with me? Please.
But even though Kyla's grown up now and has a family of her own, not a day passes that she doesn't feel responsible for Dawn Marie's death.
There's nothing I can do now to replace her or to take back what I live with every day of my life.
Cindy, what do you think Dawn Marie's legacy will be? What do you want it to be?
I want a lot of healing for youth. I want to educate, empower, and encourage youth to change their behaviors because of what happened to Dawn Marie. That is her legacy. My name is Cindy Wesley, and I'm here this evening to talk about the seriousness of bullying and suicide prevention.
Cindy tirelessly gives talk after talk, fulfilling her little girl's legacy.
One thing was very clear in all of this, and that was there was a lot of bystanders.
Clearly, her girlfriends knew she was being tormented. Did the school know she was being tormented? Did they do anything about that?
Personally, I believe the school knew. Do I believe that she told the school? I do. Do I believe the school did their part? No.
Cindy isn't alone thinking schools failed to do their part. David Knight, the boy who was bullied in the schoolyard and online, says he saw anti-bully programs come and go, but they didn't stop the attacks.
Or when I was in elementary school, there was the Zero Tolerance, there was the Safe Schools Act, there was all of these plans that the kids just laughed at. I mean, zero tolerance didn't mean zero tolerance to the kids. I remember one of the bullies telling me on the internet that he was going to knock me unconscious the next day at school. And I told him, I said, well, you can't do that. I said, you'll go to jail. And his response to me was, I'm a young offender. They can't touch me. I'll get a small slap on the wrist and it'll be well worth it to see you unconscious.
Now, Ontario has a new law to stop bullying. And Education Minister Kathleen Wynne says it's going to work because this law gives schools power to step in, even when the bullying happens away from school.
What we've done in the legislation is we've provided for behaviors that happen off school property but have an impact on school climate. So, in fact, a principal can respond to a behavior that may have taken place at home but may have begun at school and may continue at school.
And if cyberbullying gets serious, schools can take serious action. Under the new regulations, schools can suspend bullies for up to 21 days. Tough rules that might save the next little girl, but come too late to save Dawn Marie.
People always tell me she's in a better place. But as a mom who loves your children, how does a child be in a better place without you? That's something I have to live with every day.
We'll be right back. And now a look ahead to our next edition of W5.
This is horrible. It's pure filth.
Cockroaches and crumbling walls.
The city owns these buildings.
Taxpayer funded to help the poor.
They don't care about nobody.
And a breeding ground for violent crime.
I just stay here and keep the door locked.
If this Canadian city can't clean it up,
we don't manufacture money.
Who will defend the defenseless?
We're herded like cattle. They want us to go away.
And that's next week on W5. And that's our program for this week. Remember, you can also find us on the internet at w5.ctv.ca. There you can learn more about our stories, even watch them again. Until next week,